June 25, 1950 dawn. Without warning, 135,000 North Korean troops crash across the 38th parallel into South Korea. Tanks, artillery, Soviet-made weapons. Seoul falls in 3 days. Why did this happen? 1945, Japan loses World War II. Korea, occupied by Japan for 35 years, is split in half by the victors. The Soviet Union takes the north, the United States the south. A temporary line at the 38th parallel becomes permanent ice. North Korea, communist, led by Kim Il-sung, armed and trained by Stalin. South Korea, anti-communist, led by Syngman Rhee, backed by the U.S. Both men claim to be the only legitimate government of all Korea. Both want to unify the peninsula, by force if necessary. Kim Il-sung gets Stalin's reluctant nod and Mao's enthusiastic support. He thinks the South will collapse in days and America won't intervene. He's half right. The South almost collapses, but America does intervene. June 27th, President Truman commits U.S. air and naval forces. July, the first American ground troops land, Task Force Smith. They're outnumbered, outgunned, and pushed into a corner called the Pusan Perimeter. September 15th, genius move. General Douglas MacArthur lands 70,000 UN troops, mostly American, behind enemy lines at Incheon. A tidal gamble that works perfectly. Seoul is retaken in 2 weeks. North Korean army disintegrates. UN forces race north, capture Pyongyang, reach the Chinese border by October. China warns, cross the 38th we fight. Washington doesn't believe them. October 25th, hundreds of thousands of Chinese People's Volunteers pour across the Yalu River. Bugles, human wave attacks in the freezing night. UN troops are surrounded, shattered, pushed back in the longest retreat in US military history. Chosin Reservoir, November-December 1950, 30,000 Marines and soldiers fight in 30 DJF, surrounded by 120,000 Chinese. They fight their way to the sea, attack in a different direction, they call it. 1951-1953, the war turns into a bloody stalemate around the 38th parallel again. Trench warfare like WWI, Porkchop Hill, Heartbreak Ridge, millions of artillery shells. Truman fires MacArthur for insubordination. Talks drag on at Panmunjom. July 27, 1953. Armistice signed, no peace treaty, just a ceasefire. 36,000 Americans dead. Over 600,000 Chinese casualties. 2-3 million Korean civilians and soldiers killed. Korea still divided, almost exactly where it started. The Cold War's hottest war ends not with victory, but with a frozen conflict that has never legally ended. The guns are silent, but the border is still lined with mines, barbed wire, and 2 armies staring at each other across the same line. Will the war reignite anytime soon? Could the North commence military action if they get Russian and Chinese support?